In a world full of amazing mandolin players, it's easy just to settle for imitation. But the real magic happens when a player dares to carve out their own voice. Harry Clark, mandolinist with East Nashgrass, has done exactly that. His playing blends a deep respect for tradition with fearless originality, creating a style that sounds like nobody else. And he's one of my favorite mandolin players on the scene these days. And in this video, I got to hang out with Harry backstage at the Mountain Song Festival in Brevard, North Carolina, to discuss how Harry found this unique sound, and to explore how you can discover your own path on the mandolin as well. Oh, I'm sweating.
Yes, sir.
Harry Clark, folks. East Nashgrass, you just released this fantastic new record, All God's Children. I've been listening to it non-stop. Huge congratulations on the release.
Man. Appreciate it.
And man, there's some fantastic mandolin playing on there in particular. And what I love about listening to you, man, is that you sound like Harry Clark and you don't sound like just another mandolin player. And I mean that like in the best way possible. I was wondering if we could start off just maybe talking about some of your early influences, mandolin or otherwise.
For sure, man. I started when I was 10 years old. And after about 3 or 4 months of playing, I went and saw Ricky Skaggs and Kentucky Thunder. And blew my mind, and not only did Ricky's mandolin playing blow my mind, but when he'd set the mandolin down, Andy Leftwich, who was in the band at the time, would pick it up and blow my mind again. And I got the album So Long, So Wrong not long after that. And I feel like Adam Steffi was really my first mandolin crush. I fell headlong for the guy. So
it's hard not to, man. Hard not to.
That smooth, buttery tone, and the note separation was so good. And I felt like for a long time, for years probably, from like ages 11 to 18, I wanted to play like Steffi, you know. I was working on anchoring my pinky. I was playing in the mirror, trying to get that rock, but I never could really sound like him. And I would go to Bluegrass festivals and events and see other mandolin players who I could tell were just as inspired by Adam as I was. But I realized that no one could really sound like Adam except him, and started trying to figure out what my sound was, and started really diving into mandolin players like Mike Compton or Tim O'Brien, Sam Bush, and David Grisman, who was someone I didn't get for a long time. It's kind of funny. As I get older, it gets better.
I know, right? How did you walk that tightrope of taking influence from all those inspirations, but then taking it somewhere different besides just being kind of a cheap imitation of those players?
Well, growing up, a big influence, and probably the main in-person influence I had in the same kind of area that I lived in Central Arkansas, was a guy named Bill Nesbitt. He was a great Monroe-style mandolin player, and he really studied a lot of Monroe and Frank Wakefield and David Grisman even, and guys kind of like that. So he had this really cool way of playing downstrokes. That style of playing, he was really fluent in that. It kind of rubbed off on me subconsciously, I think. I think I picked up on a lot of what he was doing. And it was something that in those couple years where I was really trying to play this one certain style, I kind of thought, oh, that's holding me back, it's not allowing me to do what I wanted to do. But really it was something that I already had in my arsenal that was more, unique to my own style than a lot of guys who are just trying to play the straight eighths.
Guilty.
Well, it's so nice, and I still want to, and there's songs that call for it too. And I think another thing that really kind of opened my eyes was moving to Nashville in 2017, I guess. And when you move to Nashville, there's all these great musicians, bluegrass musicians there, coming from different walks of the bluegrass world. You have your straight traditional guys, you have your really modern players, and you'll find yourself in musical settings where you're playing with all these different styles of musicians just by happenstance. Just you get booked for a gig, and here's a guy who's really into Bela's banjo playing, and here's Mike Bubb on bass, and then here's David Greer on guitar, and then it's like, okay, you got to kind of learn to adapt to the sound that's happening in the moment. I couldn't just choose one style to play, I just kind of had to really open my ears and listen and apply a bunch of the different methods I'd learned. It's not a mash groove, it's not a Bill Monroe groove,
right.
It's not a Punch Brothers groove, but it is all that at the same time. Really finding out how to work with others.
Yeah.
Kind of, I feel like, influenced a lot of my sound.
I'm sure like playing in an amazing band like East Nashgrass has had a big part in that as well. Like how has that shaped your playing?
It's really kind of showed me flaws, for one, that I have in my own playing, which are good. I think it's good to really be able to hone in on what you're not doing well, and then what you are doing well, and use those strengths. You know, there's certain things I can do in East Nashgrass that don't really fit with other bands, and vice versa. You know, Maddie Denton, who comes from kind of a contest fiddle world into bluegrass, that's how she made her entrance into bluegrass. That's how she got her start in music, you know. And Corey Walker, who's just kind of an all-styles banjo player, you know.
He's like a mad scientist.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And
the best way.
Yeah. And then James Key. James has a way of singing that's really, it can be elegant and it can be far out and wide open at the same time, you know. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, playing to a singer is really kind of that was one of the biggest struggles, you know, as a youth for me, is kind of learning how to really lay back. Still having problems with that, but trying to dial into that more, you know. Less is more sometimes when you're trying to back up a really good singer.
Yeah. Let's talk about rhythm, because I know you said you thought a lot about this, and just listening to the new record, which there's going to be a link in the description below. You guys have to check it out. You guys are so tight. Like, y'all have such a pocket and a shared groove. And when you play solos as well, like, you're using a lot of interesting rhythms that I don't hear a lot of other mandolin players use. And it makes it really exciting and captivating. I'm like on the edge of my seat, like waiting to see what you're going to do next. What's been your thought process to get there?
Yeah, I think it has been kind of intentional. These days, I'm really not trying to sound like anything other than the song I'm playing, really, you know. If the song lends itself to playing more kind of experimental, wherever this leads is where it goes, you know, that's fine. But there's certain songs that need to sit back more and kind of be the support for the color instruments, which, you know, dobro and fiddle mainly, but also banjo, you know, learning how to create a safe space for those guys to really work their magic in certain songs. Rhythm is another thing, you know. I've seen a lot of people, no matter what situation they're in, playing mandolin, they're just like trying to cram, you know, the meanest Sam Bush chop ever, which is great, you know. You know, everyone wants to play, you know, White House Blues and like really lay the chop in there. It's fun, and when the situation arises, I mean, it's like fun to go for it too. But there's also a time for really just like adding like a little bit of texture, you know. Tim O'Brien, I think, is kind of the king of playing more of like a strum style rhythm. He might chop and then play like a, you know,
yeah.
kind of imitates like cymbals, you know, brushes on like a cymbal or something for the drum kit. We have this one song that we recorded on the new album, Maddie Sings, called Redbird, where it's just like, it's a 3/4 song, and if I do much more than that, it really subtracts, you know, just kind of strummy, you know, tremolo style, you know, colors. You know, it's not even about playing a chop, you know, because some songs aren't forceful. Some songs need to be just like light, like a feather.
Yeah. You gotta serve the song and serve the people that you're playing with. I love that, man.
And then when the time comes to really just hammer that chop, go for it, man. Let it all out.
Well, speaking of going for it, man, let's talk about like what is going through your mind when you step up to bat to take a solo, because it is a force of nature, man. Like, I feel you put it all on the table, and it seems like you don't care at all what people are thinking about you, which is awesome. I wish I was more like that. And it always works out for you, which I'm really jealous of.
It doesn't always work out for me. You know, that's the downside, is there are definitely times where it just doesn't work out, you know. But really enjoyed listening to just Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead, or listening to like a McCoy Tyner record with Coltrane or Miles Davis. You know, like these free improvisers, you know. It feels like they go to a different dimension, you know.
Yeah.
Mentally, and the sound is whatever is happening in the moment. It's not like a set in stone sound. So, I don't know, I feel like the times where I really feel good about what I'm doing are the times where I've gone back and heard something I did and I was like, man, I really like that, or the times where I'm just kind of like not thinking too much, you know, and just going with it. like I said, there's a time for that, you know. Don't want to play the Tennessee Waltz and play, you know, Phrygian over it or something like that. But there are certain songs where, you know, we play the song Hop High live in the set, the old time song, and we take extended solos on it. And it's mainly just over the 1 and the 5. You kind of have this whole blank canvas to really just experiment over, you know? And doing that on stage has always been fun for me.
It just seems so in the moment when you're on stage, and it sounds like it's all like off the cuff too. It's all improvised. Is that right? Like most of the stuff you're playing?
Most of the stuff I'm playing is there's a couple sections in a set where like I have an idea of where I'm going, you know.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy the adventure of just start playing whatever you're feeling, you know. I'm trying to figure out the modes, you know, and I don't understand them yet. And I've learned them a really backwards way. I have like this list on my phone that tells me like, okay, you can play over this, you know, key signature over the 1. Like if you're in D and you play in the sharp 4 over the
that's
okay,
so fun.
yeah.
I feel like that's a really underused sound in bluegrass. Even though it's technically the flat 5 as well. It could be like a bluesy note, but when you play it in that context, it feels so fresh.
Yeah, it's very like kind of clean and bright sounding.
Yeah.
You know? I'll show you this list I've made. That's really probably the wrong way to learn modes. Modes explained by numbers.
Whoa.
It's like Ionian, you know, so you're playing the 1, or you got Dorian, which is the flat 7 over the 1, or Phrygian, which is playing a flat 6 over the 1.
That's so helpful, like thinking about it in terms of numbers like that.
So, you know, for playing in more of like a jammy situation, I try to just like think of like maybe for this solo, I'll really try to like stick to the Lydian scale, you know, D Lydian or Mixolydian or the Locrian. That's the flat 2.
How do you use that one, man? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know how to use it yet, but it would be like playing, if you're playing in the key of D, you'd be playing in an E flat. Really just I don't know how to use it. I'm trying to figure it out.
Like that?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, it's kind of.
You can see that's just like a treasure trove of new ideas there, messing around with those different sounds. Are you thinking specifically about the notes that would be different from the key that you're starting in, or
sometimes, or even I'll just try to think like, okay, you know, if we're playing that Locrian scale in D, I know that the Locrian scale is just playing out of the key of the 2 flat.
2 flat,
or
okay.
the sharp 1.
Right.
But yeah, like if we're playing that song Hop High out of D, where it's just an extended solo mainly over the 1 and the 5, I might just try to play out of, you know, E flat just to see where it goes, because you can always end up on the D note, you know.
Yeah.
It is in the
That's right, yeah.
It's not a wrong note. I don't think my list is maybe the best way to learn modes, but it's at least it gives me something to think about, you know.
You're doing better than me, man.
This is a 2006 Steve Gilchrist mandolin, the Australian knockoff. And I got it from this guy. I guess he was a private collector, and this fellow Jason Bailey, a great mandolin player, lives in Nashville. He kind of connected me with this mandolin. I had a mandolin from the batch right before this that I loved, but the neck was really small and my hands are not, and I was getting left hand cramps playing it, and it was just, no matter how I had it set up, it was just hurting my hand. But I found this mandolin, which a guy had bought new and kept in a safe, and it was like pristine before I got it. And it has a wider nut. I think it's got a 1 3/16 nut on it.
Yeah.
And it's got tone bars and a red spruce top. It's not one of the D-log gills, but
Do you have a rattlesnake tail?
I do have a rattlesnake.
I thought I heard that, yeah.
It's my little, my little voodoo potion there. These are old Diodario XS strings.
Yep.
You know, they're kind of turning black. And then this thing is like a piece of putty that I use this AKG pickup, and I blend it with a mic on stage. I blend it with one of those Neumann clip-on mics. And then picks, I like constantly change.
I was going to ask, yeah.
I've been getting picks from this guy called McQuan Picks out of Kentucky. Really killer picks. These are made out of probably the same thing you're using there, using that black.
Like the amide or whatever it's called,
Yeah, and he makes picks out of several different materials, and he makes different shapes. And I'm constantly like kind of battling between thicknesses and shapes and materials. I don't really have a set pick, but this weekend I'm using this black McQuan teardrop.
Well, man, do you have any advice for mandolin players out there who are, blazing their own path about creating your own style like you have?
Yeah, well, it's helpful to find other musicians that kind of have the same aspirations as you. Iron sharpens iron. Is that the old saying? I believe it is. That's really been a big one for me. Moving to a place like Nashville where there's all these musicians that can really, kick my butt and in the best ways possible. Really kind of keeps you going, and don't listen to anyone that really says it needs to be done this one particular way. Unless you're wanting to learn something like the way that Bill played it or Thiele played it. There is a place for that, man. Definitely learn as much as you can. Transcribing is great. Learning as much language as you can, but just like don't box yourself in.
Yeah.
I guess.
Do you want to try this one?
Yes, I do actually.
Mandolinists like Harry Clark show us what's possible when you stop imitating and start creating. The mandolin becomes more than an instrument, it becomes your voice, and I hope that this inspires you to keep shaping your own unique sound as well. And by the way, if you want to grab the mandolin tab for both the tunes that Harry and I played together in this video, you can find them over on my Patreon page down at the link below. And while you're down there, please consider liking and subscribing and leave me a comment because I would love to hear from you here. And by the way, if you want to learn more about the scales and modes that Harry is talking about in this video, then check out this other video here on screen where I show you how to play the major scale in all 12 keys, which is a huge step towards playing with some of the cool sounds that Harry is using here. I hope to see it over there, and thanks so much for watching.